Today we talk about what's called events. Events are kind of these big moments that happen in Bitcoin, or actually any stock, not just Bitcoin, but any stock really. And you know what we could do? Maybe to start this one off, we can do something a little different. We can go to S&P 500, talk about this same type of thing. It looks like I already have something charted here, some levels picked. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do just and we'll go back to Bitcoin. That's fine, but just to show the relevance in all markets. Events are. It's funny because this actually looks a little bit like Bitcoin right now. Events are the moments that are the larger moments in charts. So you have these, big moves up, big moves down. Events create kind of these areas where things either stay still for a long time or have a big move up or down. So an event is something that obviously, like you can see one right here. S&P had been moving up for a long time. It had broken its level, its weekly hold. Like if you actually look at S&P here, you can kind of back trail from this moment here. Yeah, and even earlier in time here, you can back trail these hold levels. Or here's one right here, and so this is range right there. So if you were to take this move, no, we don't want to show history. We just want to copy and paste the level. If we were to show the history, that level ladders this, and this, this ladders to here. So basically just your hold levels, right? And this never gets tested, and this never gets tested, and then you've got this tested, and it creates the base of a move, right? So, and you've got this one right here, which creates the base of a move, and some other deeper hold level from back here. Looks like this was a bit of a hold level right there, and that was the actual original base of the move. So kind of like an origin level, and so fine, it trails the move up to all these moments here, and then you get to here, and same thing. So you break this base that you had right here. So let's identify this first as we'll do it like this. We'll do it a little cleaner today. We'll go. Oh no, what is that? Okay, we're gonna go base one. Actually, yeah. Okay, we'll go base one. I'm not sure what this panel is. No, I don't want to do any of that. Base one. Come on. Base two, right? This hadn't been created, and if you were to take this to this point here, you would just have base one and base two in this move. Actually, when this gets created here, might take a few minutes here, so I'll just let this run through. And there's the base of the move. So you have, these should actually be, this is the first base, that's the second base. Reverse these a little bit here. First base, second base, and creates its new base, right? So this is the first thing to know about events, is that events, they kind of tell a story about what's going to happen next. So it's going to be pretty important to understand this for any stock going forward. It's going to be important to understand this for Bitcoin right now. It's S&P 500, all stocks, right? So you have base one is tested. You have base two is created and tested right here. This is kind of a very small base. It's only really been tested once, but it is still a base. So kind of what happens here, and we're gonna go back into the replayer tool here, is when you create bases like this and they break, they will typically go after an untested level. So like you've got this base here, you can see it gets hit. It kind of creates this trend right here like this, right? And then on the backside of this chart, obviously nothing over here on the S&P, but you would have had some type of break level, hold level in here, something that looks like the hold level would have been around here somewhere. So whatever this was testing ends up being the hold level, goes slightly over, it fails down, and that's perfectly fine. This would have created a possible monthly base in the future. No, it would be actually right here, which is fine. We can go back to the weekly. Anyways, when you have these bases hit like this, and this is pretty much what's happening in Bitcoin right now as well, you have kind of a set of bases toppling onto each other or going above each other, kind of 1, 2, 3 like this. Try to break the move, right? The move breaks down, goes and creates a new base. So what you're going to see is this is called an event. You have something where you have, like I said, this toppling of a base here. The first one created, the second one created. What could possibly be the next base in the future? And then kind of this untested level right here. So we're going to mark that one. Go like this. put this here. And we're just going to call this untested. This is, and we have to realize these are major events, right? These are weekly hold levels, and I believe this month might even be a monthly. Yes, it's the top of a monthly valley there. So it's a monthly hold level on the highest level, or you can call it the weekly, or that's fine, either one. But you've got these events that are being created in the charts, and so you lose one base, you're going to go down to the next base untested, right? Here, break this trend, fine. You're going to move up, and we're just going to let this play out for a second. There's your hold level. Break over that, right? Same thing. Your hold level is probably a little higher here. It's probably right there. Break over that hold level. That's fine. You're at this kind of all-time high, and this is where we're going to stop it. Okay, so this is one type of one type of an event down here, right? So we're going to call this event one. Event one. So this is kind of getting into the realm of you guys presumably know everything about bases, hold levels, what ranges can be attacked and why, trends, what they do, how trends break, what they represent, how to array them out. So this is kind of creating events off of all these larger things together now, right? So this event here, we're going to call this, say, event bases of moves, right? So this is a different type of event that's happening. This is the bases of moves, right? I don't know why I capitalized that B. That's fine. Going to do like this, event one, bases of moves, right? So you have the base of a move here. You have the base of a move here. The next base that presumably could be created is down here. So when you lose this base, that's where your gap exists, right? So you come up to this range here somewhere, you start to lose the move, you lose this base, you're presumably gapping to here, right? And then the same thing, when you lose this base, you're presumably gapping to here, or so forth to the untested level, right? So this event here is going to be something different than what we're looking up over here. This event is the bases of moves. This is very much the same thing as hold levels, untested hold levels. When you have bases of moves, when you break a base, you're going to go to another base of a move, right? So when you can create the base of a move, and what I mean by that is this can create the base of a move here because it has been tested. When you've tested, okay, so we're going to put an X over this one. This is tested, right? This base is tested. This creates a base of a move here. This is being tested. When this breaks, it will gap to the next spot where it can actually create the next base of a move. So again, this is a different type of event that's happening. This is the bases of a move. So if we were to, let me try something here, go like this, and we're going to go to XBT for a quick second and do just kind of a comparison here. Sure, or do we want to go to BTC? Okay, you know what, we'll just go to XBT, that's fine. And we're just going to delete whatever this is. And we're going to kind of create the same scenario where you have kind of this, okay, you've got a base of a move here, you've got a base of a move there, and this should be right here, right? Like this is one base of a move. What could presumably create your next base? Well, this could, right? So this is something that we need to be very aware of, whatever this is back here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this. Okay, so obviously we have nothing on this chart, right? And if you were to pull this back, you'd actually know that this is the weekly right here, right? So you actually could technically go and create your next base off of, I believe it's this right here, right? Well, you actually have this down here, which is the real level that was hit, but you can use this for this chart demonstration because it doesn't quite reach this down here, right? So this could presumably create another base of a move, this level right here. So when you start to break this weekly base, you can actually gap straight down to that right there, right? And then we're going to go into some smaller time frames and look at that same exact example. So if you were to move this to the daily here, so you've got the base of the move here. You could even go to some lower time frames here because this has actually been happening quite often in Bitcoin right now. You've got the base of the move right here. Like this is a base of a move, right? That base is already created, right? Is there any bases that could be created here? Well, yes, actually right here. So this is actually where you could go next on a higher time frame. This is still a relevant level. You can see it. So daily right there, tested once. So what's going to happen is you're going to keep creating these laddering points like this, and you're going to keep creating these bases of moves. And we can see this one can't be used because the base has already been tested, right? This one can't be used. The base has already been tested. Okay, so let's actually just delete these brushstrokes, go into the hourly charts and see where else we can find these bases of the moves, right? So, oops, not like that. Let's see here, and backside valley right here, right? So you've got this right here. this base of the move is presumably tested. So this is going to create the same type of event that happened here. So when you have this base of a move and it keeps testing it like this, it's going to gap, right? Like so when you collapse this level, it's going to gap to presumably what could be the next base of a move. So again, this is a very specific type of event that's happening. So and this is all part of this lesson on events to show you guys that there are specific types of events that happen in the charts that show you where something is going to go, because you're all going to be left with the question of, oh, which hold level does it go after? Which range does it target? Which trend is it breaking? Like there's all these, because they exist everywhere, right? You could have a hold level here and it's untested, but it doesn't get respected. But sometimes it does, leaving some kind of weird question like, okay, why does it get respected this time, but not that time? Well, this is because there's things called events in our charts, right? So, and then we're going to come back here, take a look at this, and maybe we can create some. Actually, I don't think there's any bases on the top. Actually, you're just laddering bases from the bottom, or sorry, so you're just laddering off the top. Like you've got this. Like you've just been laddering, which is creating a trend versus creating the bases of a move, right? Like on this side, you're creating bases that are constantly being hit and broken down. On this side, you're not doing that. You're just creating ladder points. This is a very distinct difference here. So we're going to go back to S&P now and look at this. So we've kind of talked about bases of the move, and we're going to come back to this. We're just going to create a couple different events that could possibly be happening. And so that's great. Let's just pause this, get this off the chart. We don't need that. So you've got your hold level here, and then this moves up into this range, or whatever the hold level in between these are right here. Or maybe it's a base of a move right here somewhere, or whatever it is. We don't need to break this chart down to look at that. What we're looking at here is a little different. So here we've got something a little different happening. So as to where we have an event down here where you're creating these bases of these moves and you're gapping to the next bases, what you're doing is you're doing a completely different event up here. So we're going to copy this, paste this one. We're going to go event 2. And just for the lack of a better term, we're just going to call this a pullback, right? Or this is a perfectly fine term, pullback, or the top of a move, or whatever it is. Target is hit, right? We'll say that target is hit. Target is hit. And this hits reverse trend from the past, actually, that's found back in this region here. If memory serves me correctly, it was on a monthly chart. So this is I'll try to quickly find this. This was what's called a reverse trend, which we haven't talked about yet. But if memory serves me correctly, it is this right here. No. That right there, reverse trend. Maybe it's a higher time frame. Oh, because I'm not using the 12-month. That's why. That's right, because S&P you can use the larger time frames. Would be this right here. Yeah. So target is hit. Oops, should be the top there. It's the first one I had there. The top of the trend to the bottom of the biggest time frame. So this is what's called a reverse trend. Obviously, we haven't looked at this yet, but this is just quickly in this, when you're kind of going to this all-time high here. It's the same thing. You're using your distribution to accumulation candle just a little differently, and then all you're doing is you're using the top of a move. Again, this is slightly different than what we've ever seen or done before. This is when something is outside the bound of having any levels where it'll go, right? So yeah, it's reverse trend falls into the lessons of reverse levels, reverse trends, which we'll get into in the future here in a little bit. But anyways, fine. Target is hit. You can call it pullback. You can call it target. You can call it whatever you want. And fine. So this is, and yeah, fine. You could adapt this further on the daily and go to here, right? You could constantly adapt this and find, did I not snap that right? I gotta zoom in here. Eyes aren't so good anymore. Oh boy. Yeah, it looks like that's the right one there. It's the same thing. You could refine this and adapt this out. And again, we'll go over this in the future. Not important for today's lesson, but anyways, this is important to understand that event number 2 is hit, right? So event 2, target is hit, right? So this is a different type of event that's happening on our chart. So target is hit on the S&P. this creates a different type of move. Just kind of like this. Look, you have something like, I looked at this recently the other day, and so fine. A target is hit, right? Like a target is hit. So, very clear on the charts. You have targets, target is hit, right? The exact same thing we're looking at here. Target is hit. So what happens? It creates a different type of event, right? Same thing as a knife catch. Same thing as a knife catch. Same thing as any hold level that we go after. Any kind of extreme moment. If this was distribution and that was our hold level, we would go after that hold level, right? So this is creating a different event. This is creating kind of a long-term pullback, or what would be where you would look at event number one, and we'll flip this back over. Event number one as to where this is a completely different move. You lose a base, you're going to go after presumably what could create the next base of a move, which would be this, right? This could presumably create the next base of a move. This is going to go after what is left below that. So if the event over here is creating the bases of moves, obviously you can't use this as a level anymore. This can no longer create the base of a move. This is a very different chart now from being in this moment to that moment here, right? So can actually just get rid of this replay tool. And once these events happen, this is gone, right? Like this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. There's nothing left of importance in there. At this moment here, you simply have either this to hold the move up, or something on a smaller time frame down here, right? Larger time frame, you either have this. You could just watch it for a minute. This is completely different, right? Like all these bases are gone. This would actually be base one now, which would bring you into the exact same scenario of what could presumably create your next base of a move, right? So this is already a base of a move. It's been tested here and here. What could presumably create your next base? Well, you don't have a base below this. Actually, if you did, it would be right here. It would be right here. Oops, no, wrong one. If you did have the base of a move, it would be right here, which could possibly be where S&P falls to in the future. Again, if something happens, its next target would be this, which could presumably create the next thing. So as you would have this event here, you'd have the same event down here, which could be, events kind of 1.5. We're going to call it 1.5, just because it's not quite event 2, but it's event 1.5. This could presumably be the target in the future, because when you start creating these bases of the move for S&P, once that breaks, it's going to kind of fall through this and fall through this, which would just bring you right to this moment here, right? So anyways, we're going to let this thing play out. Right, target is hit, different type of event. So now you've got this scenario where you're saying, okay, well, if target is hit, what does that mean for this chart, right? Like target is hit, what does that mean? Well, it means that you're going after your next untested move, right? So you've got event 1.5 here, you've got an untested level here. This can no longer hit the ladder. Once a target is hit, right? These are knife catches. So the kind of one of the major difference here between event 1 and event 2 is event 2 is a target. Event 1 is kind of the collapse of a move, right? Event 1, where you have the base of a move, these don't become targets. Bases aren't really targets. They're moments of polarity, as to where this target is a moment of polarity, but it's not going to sit here and see if it can snap over and up, because it doesn't have any levels there, right? So rather what it's going to do is it's going to have a knife catch and a knife catch, right? Because they're untested levels. So untested levels give you knife catches. Bases of moves give you points of polarity, right? Or gaps that exist. So you could do, we could just hit play here. And so you get back to this right here. I'm not sure what we marked here. Let's go back into this. Yeah, so this could be the base of a move here, and that's fine. It does hold it through, and it just collapses right down. And you can see it actually does go after that base again. So we can actually just rewind it to here for a second. Right. This is presumably the base of the move. So we still have this kind of as marked as B1, because this presumably could be the base in the future. This can't really be a base. Is there anything on the weekly? Yeah, we are on the weekly. So this can't really be the base of a move here. Like there's nothing here that could create this as a base. This could right here. This cannot. Right. So you have a few different moves here, and you have an untested level right here. So when we're looking at this chart and we're deciding, okay, what makes sense here, right? If event 2 is triggered, which is the target is hit, what makes sense here? Do we just go after this level and keep laddering up? Do we go after the base of a move? do we presumably go after what could create the actual base of a move, or do we go to the untested level, right? Kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the greediest and the things that make the most sense here, right? Well, I can tell you right now, if a target is hit, the first ladder point doesn't make sense because you're catching a knife, right? Like if this thing was to keep moving up, it would have to hold this level, and then maybe it could keep moving up. So let's just get to that moment and talk about that for a second. So right here, if this level holds, that's fine. You would have some kind of trend right here, and we're just going to go, yeah. And you know what? We can even just break this down by the day. Maybe might be a little better to do this based on the day. If this target was to hold, you could create possibly a trend here. And on the grand scheme of things, looking at this, where your event 2 is triggered, event 2 is target is hit, just like a knife catch on the bottom, right?